Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Cyber Relic channel. It's your fellow wielder of space magic, Relic here, and we're going to jump into This Week at Bungie, January 20th. There's some great new information in here, so let's just get on into it. This week at Bungie, we're sweeping up some blues. Time's been flying by, hasn't it? Including the article you're reading today, just 5 TWABs stand between you and the Witch Queen. We don't yet have the technology to enter a hyper sleep that can bridge these gaps, but we do have the power to set some expectations on topics we'll be covering between now and then. This week, we'll be talking about power, blue drops, gunsmith reputation, some shifts in exotic resources, and more. Over the next few TWABs, we'll be talking Vanguard Rep, Gambit reworks, weapon crafting, and Void 3.0, but not necessarily in that order. Don't forget the patch note previews and additional weapon tuning details. It'll be a fun time and hopefully we'll give you some things to chew on each week. We may even have a trailer or two to share with you before launch. If you haven't been on social media in the last week, you might have missed some bite-sized snippets of story. Go ahead and jump onto Twitter and check out this clip, guys. It's a fun little addition to our preview of what's coming in the Witch Queen. So let's kick things off with power and where your Guardian will stand when it's time to embark on the Witch Queen's campaign. The power is yours. In the realm of Destiny, power is not only a measurement of your Guardian's general abilities, but a consistent gauge for players on whether or not they'll be able to tackle a given challenge. While the Witch Queen won't feature a big overhaul to the ways in which you gain power, we do have some general updates coming on launch day to get returning and new players up and ready for a fresh campaign. First, let's talk some definitions. Some of you know these by heart, but we're always excited to introduce new lights and returning players to information like this. Floor, the lowest possible power for a piece of gear, starting point for new characters. Soft cap, the point at which general drops stop being automatic upgrades. Powerful gear drops are now the best way to gain power. Power cap, the point at which powerful drops stop being upgrades. Pinnacle gear drops are now the only way to gain power. Hard cap, max possible power from pinnacle drops, ignoring artifact power. This system is very similar. It's actually exactly the same as what they've done in the past, so I'm not seeing any changes in the way that this process works here. Starting on February 22nd, the power floor will be updated to 1350. Any player who signs in will be at appropriate power levels to start the Witch Queen campaign, even if they've taken a recent break from the game. So if you haven't been playing or you didn't get the max power, don't worry, you're going to be starting right at 1350 as soon as that is launched on February 22nd. Through general gameplay, players can reach the soft cap of 1500 by earning general gear through activity completions, chests, and more. This includes rare and legendary drops. Once reaching the soft cap, players will need to earn powerful drops from vendor challenges and other objectives in the game. Once reaching the power cap of 1550, the only upgrades that players will find are from in-game activities that offer pinnacle rewards. Your final stretch to the hard cap of 1560 will be through raids, Trials of Osiris, Iron Banner, and other in-game PvE sources. This is exactly the same way they've been running it for the last several expansions, so this is the same system that we're pretty much used to at this point. There will be some adjustments to pinnacle and powerful sources as these shift yearly to focus on newer seasonal content and fresh Destiny 2 expansion content offered with the Witch Queen. Keep an eye on tooltips as you start completing activities, as they'll specifically note the different types of rewards that they offer. We have no doubts that our more eager players will create guides within a week of launch, but we hope that the power climb is fairly easy to understand once you get your boots on the ground on February 22nd. Alright, deciding an economy is easy, right? Nope, I don't think it is. Short answer, absolutely not. Nothing in-game design is easy, especially when tackling the various currencies and exchanges that Destiny 2 offers. This week, we'll be diving in with economy feature lead Joshua Kalinsky, speaking to some exciting changes on behalf of the team. From Joshua, beginning in the Witch Queen, blue rare rewards will stop dropping from playlist activities, Crucible strikes, Gambit, etc. once players have reached the soft cap. Thank goodness, we've been needing something like this. Players above the soft cap 1500 power in the Witch Queen will instead see a slightly increased chance at receiving legendary rewards from these activities or a small amount of legendary shards. Blue weapons and armors will continue to drop from enemies and chests while playing Destiny 2, but we hope that this will reduce the need for players to manage their inventories and reduce the frequency of visits to the postmaster when running playlist activities. This is really great here. This isn't a perfect and complete fix to the blue drop situation, but at least once you've hit that soft cap, you're not going to be getting a whole bunch of extra blues dropping from the playlist activities. So Inventory management on your character and in your postmaster will be a bit easier than it once was. And the fact that you get an increased chance here, even if it's a small one, of getting additional legendary rewards from there might help your chances of getting those god rolls on those weapons that are playlist specific that have large loot pools. So that's also a positive change here. We have some work ahead of us when it comes to rarity as a subject in Destiny 2, which blue gear helps players increase their power earlier in the game. We want to look at their place in the overall game. We aren't expecting any major changes in the next few seasons, but we'll be spending some time behind the scenes thinking about the future rare drops all up. That's good. It seems like they're wanting to address it as a whole, but this is a small step moving forward to help us out a little bit. Okay. Gunsmith reputation. Banshee 44 is getting a new reputation system that matches the other vendors in the tower, such as Zavala and Shaxx. This means we are removing some of the items that were previously associated with Gunsmith reputation, namely Gunsmith materials and weapon telemetries. Players will now earn reputation rank progress with Banshee 44 when dismantling legendary and exotic weapons and armor by completing daily Gunsmith bounties. Players will want to spend their Gunsmith materials and weapon telemetries at Banshee 44 before February 22nd. Any materials that are not spent will be removed from inventory automatically. So we knew this was coming. Make sure if you're sitting on a large store of these that you take time to turn them in and hunt for those god rolls from the world loot pool, as they will be going away on February 22nd. Mods and mod components. We will also be removing mod components from the game. Starting in the Witch Queen, weapon and armor mods sold by Banshee 44 and Ada 1 respectively will no longer require mod components to purchase and will instead cost 10,000 Glimmer each. That's a wonderful change. Furthermore, as part of this update, we are increasing the number of mods available on each vendor at a single time from 2 to 4. This is also a wonderful change. I'm actually really impressed with this. This is going to make it easier for new lights as well as returning players to come back and be able to get the mods that they've missed out on for a cheaper, easier to obtain cost with the 10,000 Glimmer, and also give you more chances because there's 4 at each vendor as opposed to just 2. So this is a great change that they've put in place here. I'm really impressed with that. Before we move on, it should be noted that all ghost mods that generated weapon telemetries will be removed as they no longer serve a purpose. That makes sense. Here's the list of all those ghost mods that are being taken out of the game. Raoul's taking over. As we have mentioned in the past, Master Raoul will be inheriting Spider's material exchange duties in the Witch Queen. Exchange rates should match what you have from Spider for now, but these services are being shifted to the tower as the Tangled Shore will soon be off limits to Guardians. In addition, Raoul will also be picking up some of the wares that Banshee 44 and Ada 1 once offered, specifically the sale of enhancement prisms and ascendant shards. As noted above, this makes space for more mods to be available for purchase during a given week. Raoul will offer these materials at the same price as Banshee 44 and Ada 1 once sold them. Enhancement prisms, those costs, yep, that matches what they currently have, and it looks like that's just moving over to Raoul right now. And if this needs to happen in order for those extra mods to drop every week at those 2 vendors, this is a welcome change. It's a good way to balance that. As a final note before we move on to some exotic news, Master Raoul will also be able to decrypt Umbral Engrams. Oh, okay, very nice. So players will not have to hop between the helm and the tower to decrypt all the engrams in their inventory. Focusing for individual seasonal weapons and armor will live on seasonal vendors in the helm moving forward, so if you want to focus on a specific weapon from a given season, you'll still need to head to the helm for decryption. This actually answers a question I was wondering about, and it's really cool that they're allowing us to have a one-stop shop at the tower to be able to focus Umbral Engrams with Raoul if we want to, but also if you missed out on grinding those seasonal specific weapons from like Season of the Splicer or Season of the Chosen, you'll still have the ability to do so at the helm by focus farming them with the vendors directly. So I think that's a nice thing that they're maintaining that as an option for people in the game, especially those who weren't playing a lot last season early on. Okay, Hawkmoon and Dead Man's Tale. As of February 22nd, the Harbinger and Prestige exotic missions will no longer be accessible. The team still wanted to preserve the ability for players to obtain random rolls of these weapons. Therefore, instead of adding these items to the Monument of Lost Lights, as we have done with most of our previous exotics that no longer have sources, these 2 weapons will show up as part of Xur's inventory each week, and oh, that's neat. Every week, Xur will offer a unique roll for both Hawkmoon and Dead Man's Tale and will be purchasable to all players that own Beyond Light for the following materials: 1 Ascendant Shard, 1 Exotic Cipher, 125,000 Glimmer, 200 Legendary Shards. This is good. So this means that we're going to be able to maintain the random rolled ability of these two weapons, and every week Zer's going to bring a new roll of each of these weapons for us to be able to pick from. So for those of us, me, that have still not gotten a Vorpal DMT for Crucible, will hopefully be able to obtain that by checking every single weekend. And honestly, I know it's a little expensive, 1 Ascendant Shard, 1 Exotic Cipher. I would gladly turn one of those in for a roll that we've only been able to farm so many times. And I think this is a nice change in a way that we'll be able to keep the random rolled version of those exotics moving forward. Wait, before you go, what about those exotic catalysts? Oh, that's something fun. The Hawkmoon DMT and Aegir Scepter catalysts will be moved to the playlist activity, Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit completions. In addition to these 3, we have also added the ability for 3 catalysts that have been absent from Destiny 2 to drop from playlist activities as well. The full list is Hawkmoon, Dead Man's Tale, Aegir Scepter, Outbreak Perfected, Whisper of the Worm, and the 4th Horseman. Outbreak Perfected and Whisper of the Worm have both had the requirements for completing their catalyst updated so they can be completed without access to their original activities. So this is nice. So for those of you who have Outbreak Perfected, Whisper of the Worm, and the 4th Horseman, but weren't able to get those catalysts, now you'll be able to get those from playlist activity completions by a random chance for them to drop through RNG. Save the raid date. The Witch Queen has a new raid. Surprising? Nope. While we still have a bit of time before the world first race begins, we wanted to get a rally flag planted in the sand for when you should expect to be taking on the challenge. The Destiny 2, the Witch Queen Redacted raid, it will be March 5th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, so mark your calendars, guys. Make sure you're getting time off and doing everything that you need to do. I know I will be rip-roaring and ready to go for day 1 raid completion, so that's the date, March 5th. We'll have additional details on contest mode, Bungie rewards, and other need-to-know information closer to the date. Until then, get in those time off requests. If you're still in school, we do not advise faking sick notes from doctors or lying to your parents to stay home. Go to class, do your homework, ace those tests, be a good student, conquer the raid boss that is the essay due next week. Raid prep can be an evening activity. We'll be proud of you either way. All right, looks like we have here the hotfix 3.4.0.3. Fixing a few things here. Ornaments can now be equipped to the Wishender bow. Grasp of Avarice dungeons players will no longer be trapped outside the encounter if they are dead outside the crystal tunnel when the encounter begins. Okay. In the Grasp of Avarice dungeon, the damage phase with the Ogre boss will now consistently start after depositing enough cursed Ingrams. I was actually kind of wondering about this. It seemed like there was a big delay from when you got the amount that you needed to start the damage phase and when the damage phase would actually begin. I'm not sure if that's what they're referring to, but if so, it would be really nice to have a little bit more consistency between turning in enough Ingrams and actually starting the damage phase. That'd be a nice change to see. We have reverted Colorblind Settings to hotfix 3.4.0.2, and we'll be looking into making updates to Colorblind Settings in the future updates. So it looks like they're still working on the colorblind issues. Looks like this is the reference to their known issues list if you want to go check out the other things that they're working on. This is the movie of the week section. Looks like we've got a couple new movies of the week if you want to go take a look at those. This is the artist of the week section. Some pretty cool pieces here that Guardians have put together and posted. And looks like finally a quick clarification before we go. Over the weekend, a few Guardians out there were scraping our articles to figure out whether or not Iron Banner bounties will be removed at the end of the season. It was discovered that we had a slight error published to the website, and I wanted to take a moment to set expectations on what is being removed. Iron Banner bounties will not be removed at the end of the season. Bounties acquired and completed at any point during the season will be retained after the Witch Queen releases. Note, bounties retained from Season of the Lost will be capped at 1350 power and not give players any bonus power next season upon redemption. That makes sense. Additional note, these bounties will be removed at the end of Season 16 as Saladin will be taking his turn in our rollout of vendor reworks. Thank goodness. I am so happy to hear that we're finally going to get a rework with Saladin. Hopefully, whatever they end up doing is very similar to the way they did Trials of Osiris or really anything else to make farming for those weapons a lot easier. So that's a good thing to hear. Final note, because I have you here, our final Iron Banner of the season will be during the final week of Season of the Lost. Seasonal bounties related to Season of the Hunt, Season of the Chosen, Season of the Splicer, and Season of the Lost will be removed at the end of the season. We knew that was coming. Bounties from the Tangled Shore destination will be removed at the end of the season. We knew that was coming. Some daily bounties from general activities or destinations may be removed depending on objective or reward balancing on a per bounty basis. An example is a handful of drifter and gunsmith bounties are being looked at alongside some vendor work. Note, oh dear, did we just confirm the drifter is getting a pass? Well, that shouldn't be a surprise. We are tinkering with Gambit in Season 16. More on that in a future TWAB. Well, for you gilded dredgens out there, it sounds like Gambit is not going anywhere. Looks like they're still going to keep working at it to see if they can make it a more popular game mode. So that should be good news for you guys. For the rest of us, we'll just kind of have to wait and see, as it's not really a very popular playlist right now. Rule of thumb, if you do not want to lose your rewards, we highly recommend that you turn in your bounties before a new year of Destiny content hits the servers. While some of you are looking to rank up your artifact a bit faster than others, we expect many of your mod unlocks to come from completing the campaign and jumping into quests/activities afterwards. Take your time, you'll unlock all the goodies, we have no doubts. Thanks for stopping by for another TWAB. Next week, Hippie will take the reins again for her second TWAB. Until then, we'll see you in the wild. Cheers, DMG. All right, well, overall, I'm very happy to hear about some of these changes. The adjustments that they're making with blue gear dropping in the playlist activities is a nice change for inventory management, both on your character and in your postmaster. Also, I think a really big one, honestly, is the mod component changes, where you can purchase mods for just Glimmer now, as well as you're going to have 4 opportunities at each vendor instead of just 2. Is going to make it a lot easier for new lights and people returning to the game to catch up with their mod inventory. So I think that's a great change. And then also the changes with Raoul being able to turn Umbral Ingrams, creating more of a one-stop shop here at the tower. All of that's awesome. And then the notification and news that we're still going to be able to focus farm those seasonal weapons from last year. So that's not going to go away for us. We're still going to have the opportunity to do that. That's great news as well. So overall, I'm very excited. I can't wait to see. I was really hoping that we were going to get some weapon crafting information, but I'm not surprised at all to see that they're still kind of dangling that one out there for us to discover in the next couple of weeks. So with all that being said, thank you for coming by the Cyber Relic channel. Would really appreciate if you enjoyed the content that we're putting together, if you could hit the like button and maybe subscribe as well. With that being said, you stay classy, Guardians. Thanks for stopping by. And until next time, don't just have a good day, have a great day.